What's up guys, Mr. Basie here, and today we're going to be doing a commentary about Overwatch. Basically, I want to discuss some of the kind of key features of the game and give my general impression of the game so far. First and foremost, I just want to say the game is fantastic. I mean, so far, it's coming out on, I think, the 24th, so it's definitely coming out really soon, but as of right now, I was having a blast with this. I was literally having some of the most fun I've had on a new game in a long time, probably since Seduce Me 1, because that was another game where I wasn't really expecting that much. I was, I was actually kind of playing the game kind of as a joke for, just to see, I don't really like saying that because it's kind of mean, but I did it just to see, like, as a reaction to my fans, and surprisingly, it ended up being really good. And I think this is another one of the situations. Like, I was kind of excited about it. I saw the trailer, and it ended up really shocking me, like how much I actually enjoyed the beta, and I guess technically the game, because a lot of people are pulling this stunt where they have their betas really close to release, just kind of as like a hype rather than what a beta is supposed to be, where you kind of figure out what's wrong with the game. But again, so basically the game. That's why it's hard to say it's a review of the beta, because that's basically what we're going to see in the game. They might tweak some characters here and there. So in this video, I'm going to talk about kind of, again, the key features of it, how the game kind of functions and works. And I will be releasing the raw gameplays, which are, basically me and my girlfriend playing the game, communicating and everything like that. I will be releasing that over the next couple days. And I will also do a character analysis. I did take screenshots of all of the characters and their abilities, the weapons they use, their specials, and even their passive abilities. So if you guys are interested in any of that, just let me know at the end of the, let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely make sure to do that for you. I know it would definitely help me, because I'd end up walking away with a really good knowledge of all the characters, which is really important. So the first thing I want to get into before I get into the characters, because that's like the main thing, is the maps. The maps are beautiful in this game. I mean, the artwork, the design, the colors, I love it all. I like the structure of the maps. I think it's very balanced. There are a few maps that have certain sections that are kind of one-sided, because the gameplay is pretty much all objective based that I've seen so far. I haven't seen like deathmatch style stuff. They've been all pretty much objective, where you attack and defend certain things. So honestly, what I've noticed is that, when it comes to that, there are some maps that have some areas that are a bit one-sided, where it's like you're kind of being funneled through a small little area. But I think that's kind of the point. I think it's, part of the point, trying to, overcome that small obstacle. Because once you get through that area, then it kind of opens up once again. So that's kind of like you really need to strategize to be able to get through that, and it's really cool. So I think moving into the character, that's a good segue into the characters. So that's really all I want to say about the maps. Not too much to say about them other than I really like them. I think that the balance was at least decent on them, and again, they were very pretty maps, to say the least. Coloration and artwork, and even the setting, like the actual setting of the environment, was, I think, really well done. Really entertaining maps, which is a very important concept to actually focus on, because entertaining multiplayer maps can be the difference between whether you have fun long-term on the game or not. I mean, that's just really how, if you have like really dull, boring, non-interesting maps, it can get kind of dull. I mean, that's kind of just how things work. And then you're kind of stuck with, if the gameplay's really good, that's what's going to keep you entertained. But if it's not going to be that great. But luckily, I feel like there's a really good balance between really good maps, really good gameplay, and just an overall feeling of just fun with this game. So moving forward into the next section of this, we're going to talk about the characters, and this is why I want to do the character analysis, and I will kind of break it down right here, not really specifically on each character, but kind of what each character, how the characters work, and what's going on with that. Because when I first got on the game, there's a lot of heroes to play, there's a lot of characters to play, and it can be a bit overwhelming. I know for me personally, it was a little bit overwhelming, so I'm going to break it down right here. Aside from the fact that there's a bunch of heroes you could potentially choose from, they basically break it down into 4 subsections: offense, defense, tank, and support. Basically, I do notice that this game does take a lot from other games, which isn't really a bad thing. I think it's kind of a good thing that it takes the best of all the worlds of FPS and MMOs that we've seen, and really kind of combine them all together and make it really fun. Because again, that's like the primary word that I'm using here, and that's what I'm going to keep sticking to, is this is fun. Like, it's a very fun game. Again, very surprised with how fun it really was. So again, offense, defense, tank, and support. The offensive side of things naturally is for more aggressive players. They're much more agile. They have more versatility to them. There's more you can do with them. They of course have very good damage. They don't, in some cases, other characters have good damage too that aren't in the offense section. But at the same time, I feel like it's just a really good, well-rounded, just slaying character, like a good character for slaying people. Okay, nothing really more or less. You could of course play more defensive and kind of make it into a defensive character, but I think the best use for these characters is people that are going to be really good, really accurate, going to utilize the abilities and everything well with these characters, and really be that kind of annoying character, that kind of really pushy, aggressive character that's going to get up in their face and at least challenge the enemies over and over again and really get some good damage in, even if it's just supportive fire for things like the tank, which is kind of another thing it could go well with. So when it comes right down to it, I think when you're considering the two kinds of characters, again, me personally, I feel like offensive characters and tank characters go hand in hand. I think of course the tank characters being the ones that take a lot of damage, have a lot of health, can again take a lot of damage. But from what I noticed, I didn't play very extensively with tanks, but I did try out every single character in the game. What I noticed was tanks were a little slower, and their attacks were fairly short range. Their attacks were not as, opened up to having, really, really good stuff, or really, really versatile attacks like range, close range, all that stuff. You really didn't see that. It was more so close range for the most part, and in some cases medium range. They did have some ranged attacks, but that wasn't their primary focus, and I think that's the main point there. So I think offensive characters can go really well with tank characters when you're pairing them up. The defensive side of things, there are some really good high damage characters in the defensive section that can potentially be used offensively, but I noticed that a lot of their core strengths are, again, kind of catering to that defensive role where you're setting up, you're getting, into position and locking down an area. They're not really meant to be pushing through areas or really challenging a lot of people. They're more so meant to actually be locking down areas of the map and, making it hard for enemies to at least push through, kind of bleed out the timer, so to speak, or just completely, if you're able to actually completely block off a section, like again, if it takes a good knowledge of the map to be a good defensive player, especially with the defensive characters, because if you know how to set up angles, like for example, and you'll see this in one of my future gameplays, there was a time where I was the engineer. Basically, that's literally his character. Like, he is the engineer. There's a few, I think, other engineers or kind of people that are similar to that, but nobody that can build turrets, if I'm not mistaken. Like, actual high damage turrets that you kind of actually want to be able to set up everywhere. And if you're able to set those things up in key positions and really help out the team, then that can be beneficial. Again, there's a character that can turn into a turret for really, really high damage, but low accuracy, and low range. I think that's one of the things, is like, you're going to see a lot of characters that have good damage in the defense section, but their accuracy is going to be bad, their range is going to be bad, or their fire rate's going to be bad. Something like that, or maybe even a combination of all those. That's what you're going to see when it comes to the characters in this game. So honestly, that's kind of what I'm taking away from it, is that, that's kind of how I'm going to be pairing people up if I was going to be making a team on this. And again, the best strategy comes when you combine a multitude of those things. Like, maybe you want 2 offensive characters, a tank, a support, which I'll get to in just a sec, and a few defensive characters. Because, and again, the roles may change. Like, right off the bat, the people come out of the spawn, you may want to set up like 3 or 4 defensive characters right off the bat, and just to really bleed out the time, to really like hold the people off, and then when, the time actually comes to make it so that, once everyone dies, I guess, once they actually do break through that defensive line in the beginning, then you can switch up your heroes, which you can do at any point in time whenever you die. Or you can go back to your spawn and switch your hero on the fly. So very, very interesting with that concept. But again, let's move into support. So support naturally will be able to heal other characters. They'll be able to give other characters certain traits. The traits that I know of are, they can have speed boosted, they can have health boosted, they could have constant healing or constant damage increase. You can make it so that the enemy takes more damage. They're more susceptible to damage by kind of putting like a curse on them, so to speak. And then there's another one that I kind of forget, but essentially a lot of it has to do with either altering the effects of the allies or altering the effects of the enemies, or healing or allies and stuff like that. That's what the support section is all about. So when it comes down to it, support naturally, I think very, kind of goes hand in hand with tank. That kind of how it goes, I think. They've got, they took a lot of key traits from Team Fortress and some other games like Counter-Strike. Primarily, I saw a lot of Team Fortress stuff, though. I mean, I saw the grenade launcher guy, who's basically Junkrat in this game. He's pretty good for defensive. He's actually a defensive character. The kind of, I forget the guy's name, but he looks like he's like a dwarf or whatever, and he's the engineer, and that's pretty much cut and paste from the engineer class in Team Fortress. You even use a wrench to actually, like, you just hit your turret and it will level it up. It's like pretty much exactly like Team Fortress. And then you have, the healing character. You have the supportive medic character in Team Fortress. Literally the same thing. I think the character's name is Angel, and if it's not Angel, she looks like an angel, and she puts out a constant beam that you can latch onto people and have it heal them. And you can also, of course, increase their damage with her secondary ability. So when it comes right down to it, I feel like they really did take quite a bit from other games. Like, for example, the Counter-Strike beginning of the match, like, warm-up that you do if you don't have enough players. They have that in Overwatch. Now, again, those aren't bad things. As a matter of fact, they're taking, like, the best traits of all the, like, really good games out there and combining them and then putting their own unique spin on it. And I personally feel like, it's really fun. They did a good job. So those are basically that's basically the, overlying kind of general idea of what the characters do. Again, each character has their own unique traits. Each character has their own unique weapons, attacks, ranges, abilities, special attacks, passive abilities even. And so you really do have to learn all of them, and that's kind of why I'd like to do a character analysis for you guys, but that would be a lot of work, and I'm only going to do that if you guys want me to. Of course, that not only will help you, but when I walk away from that video, I'm going to have a very good understanding of all the characters, and I'll probably be even more better off. Now, right off the bat, I really feel like this game has pretty much sold me. I really do enjoy the game. I think it could be potentially a lot of fun. And when I look at the competitive side of things, because I immediately noticed a competitive kind of, potential with this game, I definitely could see this having a circuit. I think it could potentially be really, really difficult to get into. All the characters are very versatile. There's many, many strategies you could use, but that's precisely the reason why I think it could be a professional played game. Now, again, that's kind of in some cases, as I say that, it's kind of, a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think it would be that big of a stretch. Other games that I didn't necessarily think were going to have a circuit ended up having one, like Smite, for example. Again, Smite's a good game, but I just never expected a circuit to come out of that. I think this is one of the ones where I could see a competitive circuit happening, or a competitive scene happening, at least in some fashion. It might not be massive, but in some fashion, I think that could be the case. I mean, the reason being, again, is because there's so much versatility in the characters. There's, like, pretty much endless strategies you could use, and I think that, honestly, that would be a really fun thing to spectate. I mean, it would be fun to play, but imagine the spectating experience of watching something like that. It would be really, really entertaining, at least in my opinion. But again, when it comes right down to it, at the end of the day, the game is really fun. I'd like to give it a chance, and depending on how you guys enjoy the videos, what you guys say in the comments, and really how good the videos do, will dictate more or less if I'm going to get the game. Now, I think I might anyway, because it's really fun, but again, I know that a good community kind of outcry for this kind of content, if you guys were to want it, would be something I'd be really interested in providing for you guys, especially with a game as cool as this. So that's definitely, I think, a good encompassing overview of the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If I forgot anything, I do apologize. I'll probably have left it as annotations or little captions on the video for you guys if I did forget anything. But if I did, I do apologize. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Definitely leave a comment down below. What are you thinking of Overwatch? Does it excite you? Are you looking forward to this game? Is this a guaranteed sell for you? Are you going to get this game, or are you still kind of iffy on it? Because I know a lot of people have actually suggested that I play this game, and I'm really happy I got the chance. I didn't get to play that long. I only played one day, but of that one day, I played a lot, and I learned a lot. I pretty much learned everything I needed to learn to know what the game was about and how to play it properly. and I did try all the characters, so I'll try to get as much of that gameplay out there as possible for you guys. So again, with that being said, make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. If you did enjoy, please consider sharing the video as well. That kind of stuff really helps me out a lot, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or any social media really, or even word of mouth with your friends. That's really awesome too. Of course, it directly helps me as well as the entire community and is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, if you want to become a Sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been Mr. Basie, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.